This is the Weekly Set, the official podcast of TVEnthusiast.com. Episode 58, recorded May 26th, 2016, the Summer TV Preview. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TV Enthusiast podcast, The Weekly Set. Today, we're going to be talking about the Summer 2016 TV Preview. So we're going to mention what shows are coming up in the months of June, July, and August. So these are new and returning shows, and we're going to talk about which ones we think are kind of on the more interesting side. That doesn't necessarily mean good, just more interesting. Both shows that are new and returning. We'll start with new shows and then move on to returning. So I am your host for the evening. My name is Tyson Gifford. I am the editor-in-chief of TV Enthusiast. And joining me today, as always, is our keeper of comics here at TV Enthusiast, Will Roerick.
Hello.
Okay, so let's get right started. I'm just going to kind of use a summarized list here of ones that I kind of want to talk about. If there's anything you want to throw in, Will, just go right ahead. But let's kick things off with Clever Man. This is a co-production between Australia, New Zealand, and America. Yeah, they're doing this show. It's kind of like a supernatural powered people show, but with weird, like, hairy people that look straight out of like the 1980s Teen Wolf movie. Any thoughts on Clever Man, like right off the bat?
Looks weird, not in a good way. Like you describe it as like a strange blend of dystopian science fiction, comic book superhero, and mythology. And while it might be a blend of those things, I don't think those things mix very well in, like, at least this trailer. Everything seems like so disjointed.
It's the hairy people is the weirdest part.
Yeah, the weirdest part, yeah, like people like who have like that hair disease or something. They're like apparently persecuted. It's like I've seen those wolf people on the Discovery Channel.
It's a little too real for humor.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Clever Man. I'm a little bit interested just because of the premise and the channel that it's on. But like you said, like, it's just there's a little bit of weirdness to it. I want to see what's going on in it though. So one thing that's kind of interesting, did you notice Jorah the Explorer in there?
Yeah, I said Jorah Mormont, like, getting a role in the show. I was like, oh, hey, cool, it's Jorah. I don't know if I want to watch a Jorah who's not, like, simping for Daenerys, like, constantly.
Yeah. Jorah that's not in love and in the friend zone is not, is no Jorah to me.
Is no Jorah to me, yeah.
So let's move on to another show on the lineup here, Outcast. So this is the next show from Robert Kirkman, who's kind of like the hot property now. Walking Dead is like the biggest show on TV, and so all of everything he's touched basically, but even before Walking Dead, is kind of getting attention now. And this is the latest one. This is coming to Cinemax. This is their next big series now that Banshees ended. It's coming up soon. That first episode is actually available on YouTube for people to watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about it?
I'm interested. Walking Dead turned out great, obviously. Robert Kirkman's stuff is always interesting. I think this should prove to be an interesting and entertaining take on the supernatural horror genre. I'm interested in seeing the Robert Kirkman twist that he always gives when he does like a genre. Mm-hmm. Like his twist on zombies, was interesting. I think he'll do something interesting with Outcast. For sure. It's
something I've been like meaning to get to. I got it on my queue, the YouTube.
Only problem, it's on Cinemax and I don't feel like subscribing to Cinemax for one show.
There's other stuff to catch up on. You could watch old episodes of Banshee.
Yeah, that's true.
Banshee was a really good show.
So. I already got like a Showtime subscription, a Starz subscription.
I'll just cancel the Showtime one.
Yeah. like absolutely nothing on Showtime. But except for like Twin Peaks next year.
The way to watch this for people that aren't into Showtime much, and by the way, if you're going to subscribe to Showtime and get some of the on-demand stuff from them, definitely look into Banshee. It's a great show. It was on Showtime. Strike Back is another one that might be interesting for you. But if you're interested in Outcast and you're not sure if you want to subscribe to Showtime, remember that all of these channels that have like a digital equivalent now offer some kind of like a 1 month free or something. So you might just want to wait until like you got like a month left in the series and then do that trial subscription, jump in and just kind of binge through, you know?
Yeah.
And that way you can catch it all. And if by the end, and of course you'll see like a trailer before each episode for other stuff they have coming up. If it looks like it's something that's worth keeping, then keep it, you know? Like I said, there's some stuff worth going back for. I mean, definitely, Strike Back and Banshee come to mind right off the bat. But yeah, Outcast, it's on my queue on YouTube since the first episode's available that way. So look for that. Just type in Outcast first episode and you should find it. It's legit. It's not like a leaked screener that somebody posted. This is just how they're promoting it. I'm not normally into like demon possession type stuff. Like I'm not really into stuff like The Exorcist.
I'm not normally into that, but this is Robert Kirkman, so you know he's cool.
Like, I like demon possession and something like Supernatural.
Yeah,
where it's like the idea that they're like fighting them, not just exorcising them, but literally fighting them off and stuff.
Yeah,
and there's
I really loved Supernatural's take on demon possession.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be something in a similar vein. I'm hoping, at least.
Yeah. It looks like it's more than just like an Exorcist type show, you know? Like it looks like it's more of kind of like an adventure to it and like a solid story progression and not just kind of like vague mysticism. So that's encouraging. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. It's just going to be Rick from The Walking Dead going, Carl! Carl! You're possessed.
Carol pops up and goes, what? And he goes, no, not Carl. Carl!
Carl! You're possessed, Carl!
Daryl shows up. I'm not possessed. No, not Darl. Let's move on from Outcast, though. The next one I have on my list here is any child of the 80s is going to know this word. It's just going to spark nostalgia in them the second they hear it.
Only 80s kids get this.
Voltron.
Yeah, oh my god. Voltron was like my thing when I was like 4 years old. just totally had to have it. Like, and God bless my parents. God bless my mom. They went out Christmas and they tracked down like all 5 lions to make Voltron. Wow. So I could have Voltron, the complete robot, for Christmas.
It took me a while to have all 5. I think I had like him standing with like missing a leg or something for a while. And I think my friend had some of the ones that I didn't have, so we like would mix and match to have a full Voltron.
Yeah,
but then eventually I had them all. Yeah, I definitely had my full Voltron.
My parents like actually went out of their way to track down all the lions for Christmas.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that is.
Voltron is one of those things that it's so beloved in the childhood, but it like what we like about it is like 90% nostalgia. Because I remember, I think I was just out of high school and my friend noticed like he turned on like he was like hanging out with me and turned on like the TV guide or whatever on the computer, on the TV, and saw like Voltron was on and we were like, holy shit, put on Voltron. And we put it on and we were like, wow, this has not aged well at all. It aged horribly. So this is like the kind of thing that is definitely ripe for a remake because it has not aged well. So it's a good chance to kind of go, okay, let's kind of go into what was good about this series, what we remember about it being great, and then like update it. Let's bring it a little bit forward, make the animation look nice, you know? What did you think of the trailer?
I thought, you know what? This is cool. This looks like it's by the people who did Legend of Korra. I mean, God, I can't remember much of like the original series, but
You just remember the nostalgia of the stuff you like.
I remember.
I bet you have a vague idea of the theme song.
Yeah,
running through your head right now, like I do.
Yeah, like I was so young.
What was it? It was something like
when this was a thing, yeah, it's like I remember the nostalgia surrounding it. But I watched the trailer. I'm like, I'm down for this. This totally looks great. This is like one of those revivals that looks like it's true to source material.
Mm-hmm.
It's not trying to be something else, as far as I can remember. So yeah,
all the stuff from our childhood is coming back now. I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Arrow is Casey Jones. We got, was it Transformers was like probably the first one that really came back big. But out of all of those, Voltron seems like the most loyal to what the original kind of idea was. Whereas like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Transformers look like they took a lot of liberties.
Yep, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, yeah, they took a lot of liberties with the source material. Oh, speaking of, so something happened, like, I read about today, like, this, like, really puts into perspective, like, they announced the new, like, Mega Man cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you know. It's nothing like Mega Man whatsoever. The character design just looks absolutely awful.
Yeah.
It has very little to do with anything in the source material. I mean, that is the exact they're actually opting to do this with, like, beloved franchises, and that is the exact opposite of what they're doing here.
They should make a cartoon of Mega Man that looks like the cover of the original video game in North America. Which was like the worst video game like art ever, and like worst now being like best. Like it's so bad that it's good, and it was great when what was it, Mega Man 9, when they made that for like all they put in the cover and they did it like the first American cover in that same style. So that's great. It's like so bad it's good. But that would be I think I'd actually watch that out of like pure morbid curiosity if it was like that.
Yeah, it was like morbid curiosity, but no, it was like, I was actually more thinking, like, remember Captain N? Remember like that version of Mega Man?
Yeah.
I was like, I'd rather watch a show about this Mega Man. But Voltron, to get back to Voltron looks really good. I'll probably end up watching that. All 10 episodes up on Netflix, same day, done.
Yeah, right. Like a nostalgia bomb.
Yeah, exactly. It looks good from the trailer, so I'm down.
It's like I feel like I want to like go out to stores and look for like hypercolor t-shirts and like all the kind of like weird shit that I was into as a kid and like surround myself by, and I just have like a little nostalgia trip. Next show we have on the list here is Brain Dead. This is coming to CBS. CBS has recently been doing this kind of weird thing where every summer they'll have these like shorter run shows. So like not like 22 episodes, but like, 10 or 13. That are like a little bit higher concept. That doesn't necessarily mean they're good. I mean, Under the Dome, was an example. Extant that had Halle Berry in it was another one. And now they have this series Brain Dead. And this comes from the producers of The Good Wife, which is like a really beloved show that I have not seen a single episode of. I've heard a lot of people talk about how great it is. I've never watched it, but Brain Dead caught my attention on the premise alone. It's alien bugs invading the brains of politicians and controlling them.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're not taking it seriously. They're doing it the right way.
Yeah, it's a comedy. It's not a thriller. So it's like, it's going to be political satire, basically.
Yeah, got Tony Shalhoub in there, so that's great.
Tony Shalhoub, Mary Elizabeth Winstead plays the lead, guaranteeing I will watch this.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be fun. This is like, I have a similar kind of excitement towards this as I had towards like Scream Queens, and the idea of like, this is just going to be kind of like a really fun, like romp, cheesy kind of show, that doesn't take itself seriously, and that's what's great about it.
The trailer makes it look very fun. Like, the trailer is on point to like what the tone and like everything I wanted out of this.
Yeah.
You know, like this looks great.
So yeah, that's something I think we're both really looking forward to then. So next up, if you guys listening right now have been listening for a while and checking out the website, then you know that Will and I and every other basic contributor we've ever had on this website is utterly obsessed with the show Lost. We had an entire week of Lost coverage one time for the 10th anniversary, I believe last year, where we just were flooding. No, it was 2 years ago because it was 2004, and when we just had content out the ass about Lost, and we did a whole when the weekly set used to just be a text conversation, like a round table. We did a whole thing about Lost and how much we loved Lost, and we will constantly bring it up. You'll hear us bring it up every so often, and we'll just rave about how amazing Lost was. Well, it's a little bit late because it's over 10 years past when Lost originally debuted, so it's not exactly timely. But TBS has a parody of the series called Wrecked. So what did you think of the trailer for Wrecked?
Definitely a Lost parody. It wasn't as funny as I wanted it to be, though. I thought it felt kind of flat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping like the actual show is more clever than what they showed in the trailer. Because right now it just seems like lol Lost, and it's like okay, but it just has to be more biting than that. You know?
Yeah, it's questionable what we're going to get from it, because if they're very closely sticking to like the Lost format.
Yeah.
So we don't know, like, it's going to be hard to tell what the actual show is going to feel like from trailers.
Everything in that trailer was like, all the scenes in that trailer were like scenes out of like the pilot of Lost.
Yeah.
Like this isn't like a parody of like shipwreck shows, you know? This isn't like a parody of like this isn't like epic movie where like they do like Lost parody, and then like the next scene there's like a Survivor parody, and then like a Gilligan's Island parody or something.
No, this is straight Lost.
This is just like Lost. It's laser focused on just parodying. Like it's super just watch the trailer. It's like super obvious this is Lost.
And that's why we're going to pledge now that we're going to watch at least the first episode, because we're such huge Lost fanboys that we have to at least have a discussion about that first episode. It might not be a positive discussion, but it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. There will be a discussion. That is a threat. No.
So yeah, if you're like us and you're a fan of Lost, check that out. If you just kind of missed the whole Lost momentum, maybe it'll just kind of wrap you up and give you a reason to go, yeah, maybe I should check out Lost now, because you should have already seen it. Next up on our list is a series called Animal Kingdom. This is a show about a kid that his mom overdoses and he goes to stay with his family, and his family is like a criminal family. So it's just kind of like a crime family type show set in the backdrop of California. There's like surfing. It's like a beach town. So if that sounds interesting at all to you, if you like a Point Break type vibe or something maybe, but like kind of put it more into like the idea of like a family drama based on that crime or something, rather than like this weird kind of caper story that ended up being. Look into Animal Kingdom. And then we have 13, which is a series about it's basically Kimmy Schmidt, but like not funny.
Oh, zero interest.
It's about a girl who was abducted when she was 13 and was in a bunker underground for 13 years and had somehow escaped at that point, and is now back, and it's like about, you know, dealing with that. And it's basically Kimmy Schmidt, but like not a comedy.
No wacky gay roommate.
No. This is all about like the trauma and trying to readjust and everything that's going on with that. So it's a British series, originally aired on the BBC. I believe it's coming to BBC America. I think it looks good. It's just a matter of if it's going to be something that ends up being really good and worth watching. There was a show recently, it came out this year, I believe. in which this, I think it was called The Family, and it was about this boy, and he had been missing for all these years, and he showed back up, and the whole thing is like, but is it really that boy, or is he somebody else? You know,
stupid.
This kind of seems similar to that in premise, except it's not going for that corny thriller vibe right off the bat. You know, like it seems a bit more grounded and less kind of weird and ridiculous like that. More just like about the actual trauma of it. But there's also that kind of like questioning, like, you know, why were you gone for so long? And like, you know, are you really that person? And all that kind of stuff is in it. It's just not, you know, it's done a little bit more subtly. It seems to be.
Right.
So we'll have to see what happens with that. So, next show up on our list. Now this is, on Will's favorite network, Freeform, known as ABC Family. This is a horror series called Dead of Summer. So what did you think of this trailer?
You know, I thought the trailer didn't really tell me anything. It told me that this was going to be like a teenage horror movie set, or horror show set at a camp, which, like, I already knew that. But there is literally nothing in this trailer to go off of. I mean, it's neat. I mean, the way they shot it and everything, it's neat, but it doesn't show you like anything of substance about like the actual show, how the show's gonna look, who's in the show. Yeah, it's like, you can't come up with an opinion based on this trailer.
I think if nothing else, the people who did the trailer did a really good job.
I think so. It was a very nice trailer.
If the show itself kind of can carry some of that vibe, then this could be something that's very worthwhile watching. Could make be a reason to watch Freeform. So yeah, that's one I think to keep an eye out for. I think looks just interesting enough. Like, some of the imagery they showed was just interesting enough, like hinting at like a possible supernatural element, but not kind of like blasting you right in the face with it, you know? Just enough to go like, okay, this might be kind of interesting. This might be a little bit more than meets the eye. But then just like the general, even though it's so cliche, like the teenage summer camp and then like the slasher thing kind of breaking out during it is very, very cliche. It's cliche in like a nostalgic way for me, you know, having watched, you know, like Friday the 13th and stuff.
It very much reminds me of like Friday the 13th.
Yeah. And so I think that that's kind of what it's going to be like. It's going to have that kind of vibe, probably like maybe like the early Friday the 13th movies, not like the first one, but after that where like something supernatural was going on, but it was kind of vague, you know, before it got really ridiculous.
Like really in your face supernatural. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's kind of like the vibe it's going to go for, and I'm all for that. So, I mean, Freeform doesn't really have a great track record, but who knows? Everybody's got to start somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
Next up is a series coming to HBO called The Night Of, and this is like a crime story. It's another one with very vague trailers, so the trailer doesn't give you too much information, just kind of gives you like the general tone of the show, which is it's going to be this boy, and he was with a girl, and the girl ended up dying, and now he's like under suspicion, and it's got this very dark look to it. It's a mini series, so it's not like an ongoing show. And it's HBO, you know, so when you have a very vague concept like that and you put Freeform on the name, you're kind of like, When you have a very vague concept and you put HBO on it, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, I know, right?
So I think this kind of might almost be like their answer to the decline of True Detective. Like, this is like True Detective flopped in season 2. It became kind of a joke. Here's like us doing another like kind of dark crime story, you know, that's like all inclusive and has a definitive beginning and end, but it's not True Detective.
It's not True Detective. That's sad.
So next up on the list, Harmon Quest. So this is actually kind of interesting because what it is it's basically Dan Harmon, the creator of Community, and it's him and his friends playing Dungeons and Dragons in front of an audience audience. And then they're animating over the top of it, like what's happening.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, so they're having like an animated fantasy series featuring their characters as their, the audio's just then playing Dungeons and Dragons. And it's all kind of funny people, so it kind of reminds me a little bit of, did you ever watch the Ricky Gervais show when that was on HBO?
Nope.
Well, the Ricky Gervais show, what they did is he had a podcast, Ricky Gervais, really hilarious podcast featuring him and Stephen Merchant and Carl Pilkington, who's like the biggest kind of like dimwit in the world. And the show for the most part was basically them making fun of Carl Pilkington. They'd like bring up news stories and then get his take on it. And his take was so just like whacked out and funny. It was just hilarious to kind of like listen to them kind of like reacting to him, reacting to other things. That was like kind of the joy of the show. But it was a podcast. So what they did is they brought it to HBO and they animated it. And so they basically would like, when he was talking about something like some tangent, it would be kind of like how they do the cutaways on like Family Guy where they cut away to some absurd thing or something, except that it's like the conversation isn't changed. Like it's still like the exact same podcast format, but you're getting this like a little animated scene about what he's talking about, like how he thinks something works that they brought up. And that seems to be similar to what this is, the show Harmon Quest, which seems to be like it's them and they're talking and stuff. And as they're talking about rolling a dice and stuff like that. So the animated characters are saying the exact same thing. And you're never like lost in the show, like drawn into the show like an animated comedy. You're always kind of like aware that you're just seeing this kind of animation about what they're talking about. And that's kind of interesting in its own way. So as a big fan of Dan Harmon, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, okay. I probably won't watch it, but nice.
Next up, I actually heard you listening to the trailer for this and heard you laughing quite a bit. So this is Vice Principals. It's a new show coming to HBO. It stars Walton Goggins, right?
Walton Goggins, yeah.
Yeah, Walton Goggins from Justified, Boyd Crowder, and Danny McBride from Eastbound and Down. And this is a show about two vice principals at a high school basically vying for the position of principal. It kind of looks like a little bit like that Will Ferrell movie with, God, what's this? Can't even think of his name. The guy with the beard, the one about the political candidate.
Oh,
like running against
Galifianakis.
Yeah. It kind of has like a vibe like that, except it's about two vice principals going for...
Except Walton Goggins is a god, so...
Yeah.
we're just gonna watch this because as Walton Goggins.
Yeah, definitely. And this is, of course, people loved Eastbound and Down, and that was like a big hit at HBO, and it's gone. And so I think a lot of people are really excited to see Danny McBride back doing a show again, as well. But yeah, Walton Goggins is an inspired choice for any show.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And he does, like in this trailer, like he's fantastic. I mean, they're both fantastic in this trailer. Like Danny McBride is like on point. Walton Goggins is like amazing already. It's hilarious. Like there's like so many funny moments in this trailer alone. Like I cannot wait to watch this.
Next up is The Get Down. So this is Baz Luhrmann and Sean Ryan. So Baz Luhrmann he does a bunch of like kind of weird musical stuff. If you've seen, Romeo plus Juliet, which was the Romeo and Juliet that had Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes in it. He also did like Moulin Rouge and what was the recent one? The Great Gatsby. Mm-hmm. So people kind of like know him stylistically. Sean Ryan is the creator of The Shield. He also did Terriers, which is a great show that was on CBS. He's got a lot of stuff going. He just got a series picked up for NBC, and one of the time travel series. But anyways, this series, The Get Down, is about like Harlem in, I believe it's the early 1980s or late 1970s, and it's kind of about the music scene there and kind of like the gang, like the criminal kind of life component at that point when this is like before New York was really heavily cleaned up. So there was just a lot of crime going on around then, and it was more difficult to live in. It's being advertised as a musical comedy. You only get kind of like one one moment.
Well, it's Baz Luhrmann, so, it's expected to be musical.
You only get like one moment in the trailer that really plays to that. There's a lot of like dancing kind of stuff, but it's because they're like at dance clubs, so it like makes sense. But there's only like one like straight up like kind of musical moment in the trailer. I think it looks pretty good. It looks really highly stylized. It looks like it's interesting to see this as like a series, It looks really well shot. This is like the kind of thing, this has Netflix written all over it.
Yep, it's gorgeously shot. It looks gorgeous
Mm-hmm.
from a visual standpoint. It does look really solid. Just musicals are not my thing, really. So
Yeah. This is something that's kind of outside of my usual range as well, but I'm kind of taken by how it was shot, and just the kind of look of it and stuff has kind of taken me to where I at least want to try it. I might not watch the whole series, and that doesn't even mean that the series is bad. Like, I might not watch the series, and that might not have anything to do with the quality. It could just be because I just wanted to at least watch one episode to see that style.
Right.
But it is outside of my usual interest. So yeah, that's the Get Down. That's going to be on Netflix. Next up is Gomorrah. This is an Italian import. It's aired on the BBC already, I believe, and now it's coming over, I think, on Sundance here. This is, it's like an Italian kind of crime story. Like, they have like little reviews playing in the trailer saying like, Italy's answer to Breaking Bad and stuff. And, it's like The Wire. And from the trailer, it looks like neither of those to me at all. It just looks like a really good, like, organized crime kind of, thuggish street level organized crime, story set in Italy. So, yeah, it looks good.
Yep.
Subtitled, of course, so you might, people, if you have an issue with that,
Oh,
I know
no.
some people hate reading subtitles.
Garbage. Trash.
All right, so next up on the list is Shut Eye. So we don't have a trailer for this, but this is going to feature Jeffrey Donovan from Burn Notice and from season 2 of Fargo.
It's okay. It's like no trailer, but be right back using my imagination to imagine Jeffrey Donovan as a failed magician working as a psychic.
It sells it for me right there.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm a big fan of Jeffrey Donovan. I think he has a lot of charm. He's interesting to watch, and seeing him as like a failed magician sounds amazing. Seeing him then as a failed magician charging people as a fake psychic, sounds even better.
Sounds even better.
This is a Hulu series. Like I said, no trailer.
He should narrate with tips on how to con people.
Yeah. That was one of the best things about Burn Notice, is that it was basically like a modern day MacGyver.
Yeah, that was the best thing about Burn Notice. Yeah. It's a great show.
Yeah. So that's Shut Eye. And the last of the new shows we have here is Good Behavior, which is about a con woman. It's a pretty good looking trailer. There's a lot going on. Hard to tell exactly how the general tone of the series is going to be, because it's a real kind of quickly cut trailer, a real tight trailer. I don't know if the show is going to be a bit slower paced than that. But yeah, it's a good looking show. I mean, that's one thing you can say about these summer shows now. Summer used to be like the dead time on TV. Summer was like, okay, I watched everything on NBC. Now I can watch the stuff that was on ABC because it's reruns.
Yeah.
Now, then summer became like, okay, so I watched all the good shows, and now it's summer, so reality TV kicks in. And it used to just be like a flood of reality TV, and it was like a nightmare. Then they started kind of creeping in like more original content, but it was kind of like more risky content. Like, I remember I watched this series in summer one year called Kyle XY that was on...
Oh, I remember that.
It was on ABC Family, which is now Freeform. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just this kind of weird kind of concept show with this family kind of thing. It was almost like a mix of like Seventh Heaven and like, I don't know, like some sci-fi show. It was just very strange. And, it was that was the era where it was like, you were watching shows that weren't that great, but were just interesting enough that you're like, well, it's on TV, you know, because, there was nothing on during summer, you know, so you just had like a few kind of interesting things, and that allowed channels like ABC Family, which is now Freeform, to become content players, because they were able to kind of on the cheap start up a bunch of shows like that during a period where like nothing else was on.
Yeah, where they had no competition.
Yeah, and it allowed them to kind of build up a model and kind of like a general kind of viewer base that they were able to then exploit and create like larger shows for. So several channels kind of got their start as summer content channels. Yeah, it's kind of interesting now that even stuff that's not that great, you know, that we're like, I don't know if I'll watch it, looks like a gazillion times better than stuff I was watching in summer a few years ago.
Wow, nice.
So that's the new stuff. Let's talk about returning shows for a bit. So I'm just going to brush through these pretty quickly, but Orange is the New Black coming back. Love that series. Going to enjoy watching that again. Killjoys and Dark Matter coming back to Sci-Fi. Loved both of those series. I'm excited. Dark Matter, Franca Potente is doing the cast. She's a German actress that I really liked from some of her smaller films, but more people are probably going to recognize her as the love interest in the first Born Identity film. So she's joined the cast of Dark Matter, so that's exciting. Mr. Robot, that's probably the thing I am most excited for in the summer. This is basically Fight Club with hackers, the TV series. You should check it out. If you go to, I believe it's on USA's website, they have the entire first season streaming there, so you can get there and watch it. There's ads, I believe, but I don't think there's any authentication. You checked out the website and said it worked. Was there authentication or?
There's authentication, but.
There is? Okay.
Yep, but my cable company is authenticated, so it does work for me. Might not work for you. It won't work if you don't have cable, so fair warning.
Yeah, if you have any means of watching it though, definitely check out Mr. Robot. Very good show. Huge turning point for the network. It's like gonna redefine that entire network. So some of the stuff they're showing for that network now, like new shows, looks significantly better than the kind of stuff they were putting out before, because Mr. Robot basically changed the entire brand identity of the network. Fear the Walking Dead coming back. Feels like just yesterday that it ended, and I believe it was actually just last weekend that it ended. Its mid-season finale. Well, it's coming back in, I believe, in August. I kind of liked Fear the Walking Dead, and I really liked what they were doing in the second season, because they're kind of like on the sea in the second season, which is like a different take.
They're already on the second season? Wow.
Yeah, they're like halfay through the second season.
It hasn't even been like a year since the first season premiered. What?
It's because they do the split seasons.
Oh, okay.
So it was like August when the first one premiered, but it was a really short season. And then they picked up, and now it's like doing a split season like the regular Walking Dead does.
Okay.
But yeah, so, season 2 of Fear the Walking Dead, it's been good, except the ending. The ending took this really weird turn, like characters just started acting way out of like the way you expect them to.
Felicity showed up and said, "Thought I was leaving? Not a chance." And I just thought that was like a very bizarre choice for Fear the Walking Dead to like take that turn.
Yeah, why did Felicity show up?
I know.
It's like they arrived in Mexico, which is like the place they were planning to go, and all of a sudden it took on this weird kind of like spiritual vibe, and the characters started acting really out of character. It was just strange.
Okay. Like somebody realized, quick, we need to make this different from the regular show.
Yeah, but like it just seemed like all of a sudden everybody just lost their mind. Like it was like, you know, like we just arrived at this place. Everything seems kind of peaceful, but we're a little unsure of these characters. It's time to go batshit, you know? And like every character just started doing like insane shit, you know? It was just weird how it just jumped so quickly into that. I was not a fan of the way that ended. I'll check out when it's coming back, hoping that they're going to kind of move into a different direction, because that's one of the good things about The Walking Dead is that they don't stay in one place for too long. It moves around, you know, so maybe that's just kind of like the Mexico story, and maybe that'll come to an end soon and we won't have to see that anymore, and they'll go somewhere else and they'll be interesting again. Who knows?
Who knows?
The Strain is coming back. I'm really excited for that. That's like another zombie apocalypse story, except it's like a vampire apocalypse story. It's Guillermo del Toro. Looks amazing. So excited for that to come back. It's a very fun, action-y show for summer. That's the kind of show I want to have in summer. You're the Worst. This is I'm not saying that's you, Will, or the audience.
Wow, what? Oh.
This is a comedy on FXX about two kind of antisocial but smart kind of young adults, and they end up kind of in a relationship with each other, but they're kind of self-obsessed, and it's just a really funny show. It's kind of like one of those shows where it's like a really funny show about horrible characters, except unlike, say, Girls or Entourage, there are actual redeemable characters in the show as well. Mm-hmm. And the characters that are the kind of like asshole horrible characters in the show, like the main characters, they actually do have depth to them, and you can kind of understand like their damages and stuff and how they are the way they are. So it's much more interesting than a show like that. So I actually quite enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to that coming back. Halt and Catch Fire. This is the third season. This is the show stars Lee Pace, who played the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy, as a computer mogul, kind of like a Steve Jobs type, in the 1980s in a Texas computer company. And so this is kind of about like, what was that TV movie they did where it was like about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and it had
something
Pirates of Silicon Valley.
Pirates of Silicon Valley.
That's kind of the vibe of Halt and Catch Fire. It's kind of like that, except it's about this fictitious company, and Apple and IBM and all these companies, they exist in the world of this, but the main company is one of those like PC clone companies. If you remember, like way back in the early days of PCs, you'd have, an IBM, a Mac, or you'd have something called a PC clone. And that was like a common term at the time. And it was just basically what we just call a PC now, was like a PC clone. And they were like clones of what IBM was doing. And the companies were like ripping each other off like wholesale. It was kind of crazy. And so it's kind of about that. It's about that PC clone industry. And, it's pretty good. I think a lot of people like the second season more than the first. I think I like the first season more. But every season's kind of like almost come to a point where it's almost wiped the slate clean. So like each season kind of has its own identity almost. So I'm excited to see what the third season's going to be like. And lastly, for the returning shows is Narcos. This is one of Netflix's best shows. It stars the Viper, Oberyn Martell, is in the series. It's about Pablo Escobar. So it's about the Colombian drug cartels and the FBI agents trying to kind of take him down, and the Colombian government and the corruption that was happening. And I remember when I watched the first season, I was shocked at how much power Pablo Escobar had. Did you know he like actually won like the election for like, I think it was like mayor of the city, like while he was a drug kingpin?
Oh my God.
Like he was like a legit, like it's kind of like when you see like the comic books and it's like Lex Luthor is like in the evil league of evil or whatever, and he's also like the president of the United States. Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck? That's so unrealistic. It's like, it was basically like that, but for real. It would be like as if El Chapo like became president of Mexico right now. That's kind of what it was like. And the amount, they were making billions in the 80s when that was like unheard of, they were like richer than like Fortune 500 companies.
Oh, wow.
These drug cartels. So it's just insane. And it's really interesting to watch. And I love the way the show is presented. There's a lot of like narration, and that kind of makes the show work at this very quick pace. They'll kind of brush through things. It's just a really fun show to watch. And you feel like you're learning a lot about, this huge drug empire. Cause everybody's heard of like Pablo Escobar.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody's heard of it. Yeah.
But like hearing like kind of like the whole story of all the different stuff going on, it's pretty amazing. The actor who plays Pablo Escobar is amazing in it. Pedro Peter Pascal, who plays Oberyn Martell, like I said, is in the series. He plays one of the, it's not FBI, it's DEA agents. He's one of the DEA agents hunting him. It's just such a good show. So definitely looking forward to that coming back. I kind of thought they were going to wrap up the whole story in one season. Like they were going to get to the end of the Pablo Escobar season and then they were going to focus on a different Narcos. Cause there are, Narcos just refers to like a narcotics maker, like a narcotics kingpin. So I thought they were going to kind of move on cause there's lots of Narcos in history, Like I already mentioned El Chapo and there's like 2 series being developed right now about him. So I thought that's what they were going to do. Like they were going to go like, oh, Narcos season 2 is going to be about El Chapo or be about some other, drug cartel. But they're continuing the Pablo Escobar story. There's more to it. So I'm really eager to kind of get through. I can't imagine there being more than 2 seasons about Escobar because they race through the content so quickly. I mean, in one season, they've covered years of history. So, I mean, I can't imagine they're going to like slow down the second season to like a real-time pace or something. But yeah, if you're into the kind of Netflix originals, that's one of the best ones on the network, Narcos. And so that's it. I mean, that brings us to what we want to talk about. If you want to see our full article of the summer 2016 American TV preview, you can check out our website, TVEnthusiast.com, and it's on the front page. It's a little bit buried down. We've got a lot of stories up recently, but you'll find it, and it'll be in the article for this podcast as well. So you'll be able to just kind of find a link there. So yeah, check that out. That's pretty much it. So watch our other shows. We're doing Game of Thrones videocast every Monday. We're going to be talking about episode 6, next week. We're also been doing, a show called TVE versus Marvel and DC that's hosted by my friend Will Rowerig here. And, that show is going to be coming to its end next week because we're going to be discussing the finales of Arrow and The Flash.
So look forward to that.
Yeah, so look into that as well. And we do a show called The Week's News I do every Friday. Missed last week, so I should be getting it this week unless something horrible happens and gets in the way of my production. I should have one of those up. We're going to discuss the kind of major news events throughout the week. In addition to that, you can watch more of or listen to more of this podcast. Next week, we're going to be going back to Peaky Blinders and talking about, was it episode 4 we're on now?
3.
I thought we just watched 3.
It might be 4. I'll have to double check.
Okay. I think it's 4. But yeah, we're going to be talking about, Peaky Blinders. So if you want to watch along with us, we're watching 1 episode a week. We just missed this week we took off because we wanted to do this summer preview. But on the regular, we'll be just discussing Peaky Blinders and maybe some other stuff, maybe Preacher, maybe, some other news stories if anything kind of really interesting comes up. But that's it. So thank you everybody for listening. Night.
Good night.
If you would like to voice your opinion, send an email to theweeklyset@TVEnthusiast.com. TV Enthusiast is a part of the Enthusiast Media Network. Stay tuned to TV Enthusiast and the Weekly Set podcast for more